Yeah, sorry about this, guys. None of them have started on time, apart from Icarus. And there's, hang on, loading. So this will be Krepp loading. All right, we'll watch this one. If you're watching the VOD, guys, just check the description. All the timestamps are there. I've been looking at some of the analytics on my VODs, and it's like 60% of people click off in the first 20 seconds. Well, just check the timestamps and then you could go to where the game is. If you're watching this live, obviously you gotta put up with the delay. But otherwise, I mean, come on, it's not Twitch. You can use your advantages. How's it going, Leno? Uh, and yeah, let's do a poll. Who will win round one? Because I like money, Hoovy. I mean, it's down to YouTube. I just say enable ads and then it just does it. Panzer Pro Kami. It's interesting to see Pro Kami on something that's not second UK. I'm sure he does play other things, but it's the first time I've seen him in on not that. So, Warno North American London playoffs. I'm just shilling the stream on Twitch. And then I need to enable the text. There we go. I suppose the RuneScape is probably in the way. Nothing happens up here. Although actually, I suppose if I... Well, they haven't deployed anything yet. So yeah, we're just waiting on them to, you know. So yeah, let's say hypothetically, okay. So that would be a problem. There we go. That should do it. A lot of people have asked me about my RuneScape arc. I just wanted a game where I could chill out, and now I'm hooked and I can't stop playing it. I used to play it when I was a kid, but that was 20 years ago. There is no obvious good and bad side here, right? There is actually. This side, the red side, is the good side, and it's the good side because you can set up here, you can set up here, and you can set up here. Whereas the enemy doesn't get any grain silos. Which is unfortunate. These two are basically very slightly red favored. Very slightly red favored. Alpha's a little bit easier to attack for red than Papa is for blue. And, c'est la vie, as they say. What am I grinding? I'm smithing. When I was a kid, I used to try and get my smithing level and my mining level up, but I couldn't play very often because I only had dial-up internet. Which I guess a lot of people watching will actually know what that is, which is a shame. Dota 2 is really just not a good idea. But no, I like the smithing because it's kind of just AFKable. I mean, I got RuneScape to like do the quests, and all I've ended up doing is just doing my smithing, which is it's not ideal. But yeah, so that's the good and bad side. And given that, this is a bit of a slow build because I can't, it's live, right? So they're deploying right now. Between the two of them, I mean, so 5e relies on its mobility, and so if Krepp tries to have a stand-up fight against Kami, he's going to lose. And this map isn't that wide, really, because most of it is water. But, if Krepp, if he sneaks something round here, for example, or if he, sneaks something down here, you have to bring a supply truck with you if you want to do this. Like, keep in mind the AMX-10 regulars, not the Sublinde, but the regular, actually is amphibious. And this is one of the few maps where that's actually quite useful. Because you can, ford across here and then come across here and shoot some people coming in through this road, for example, or shoot some people here, or try and get over here or something. I was wondering. So, have you noticed that there are no narrow rivers in this game except on the rocks map? And it turns out that, and I believe they posted this publicly in the Eugen Discord. I need to double check actually. I need to double check. What's it called? I can't say it if it's not real. I mean, if it's not public information. Yeah, here we go. So this is publicly available information in the Eugen Discord by a Eugen employee, and he says, the reason there are no narrow rivers on all their maps is because when you zoom out of a narrow river, you get clipping, which makes it look like the river's been filled in. Like, so do you see this? Do you see this shoreline here? Do you see how when I zoom out, it sort of starts approximating itself? That the corners become more jagged, as you'd expect. But basically, if you make the river narrow enough, then these two would be closed, and it would just look like there's no river when you zoom out. And so that's why there's no narrow rivers in the game. And what that means is that amphibious in this game is really not very useful because not only is it very slow, it's only 37.5% of the base speed of the vehicle. So take this amphibious vehicle, for example. It would actually be reasonably fast on the water because the French vehicles are all fast. So what is 37.5% of 85? It's 31.9 kilometers an hour, so slower than a chieftain on the water, right? And this is one of the faster ones. Most of them are even slower. Is this amphibious? No, it's not. So you've always got to cross a long river because they can't have narrow rivers because it doesn't render properly. And then the base speed's really slow. And there aren't that many maps with water in them anyway. And when the water is there, it tends to be something like this, or it just doesn't really matter. Or this, which is too wide to get across. So it's a shame, they took all this time to put amphibious capability into the game. I mean, those of you who will have been playing from day one, as I have, and many of you have watching, who've followed me on this wonderful journey, you'll remember that they did a lot of work to add amphibious. It was like a big deal. Whoa, we added amphibious, and it was just immediately a useless feature, and it has been ever since. So one way they could fix it is to make it, faster. Like, why 37.5%? Why not 50%? How's it going, Agent Alex? How's it going, Greg the Human? Polska Góra. How's it going, Pasta? Old school RuneScape's even more of a grind. How's it going, Nico? How's it going, Biovo and Joel, etc.? We're going to stop doing that now. It's going to be too many of you. Hello and welcome to Game 1 of the North American Tournament Playoffs. They had the group stages last Saturday, and I didn't cover any of the games because I couldn't be bothered. And we're in the playoffs today, and we've got Krepp, who is French, going up against Pro Commie, who is Russian, in the North American tournament. It doesn't have a lot of North Americans in it. Krepp's playing the French div, and he's going to pick up first blood there, taking out the bow helicopter. Pro Commie, he is on the good side. It's the good side because you can put a Milan 2 in here and shoot everybody. That's why it's the good side. And you can also put one here, and you can also put one here, whereas blue doesn't have anything like that. But I would argue that this map is a lot more balanced than something like Two Lakes. Like, this is an advantage, but it's not a huge one, right? This is high, right? Okay, sure. But you can still put a Milan 2 here, for example, and shoot most of the same things, right? You can put one here, etc., etc. So looks like Krepp's going to take the middle at the start, which is quite surprising given that Pro Commie does have his own forward deployment. Although, so Krepp, he hasn't got his infantry up here yet. And then for CVs, Krepp's only gone 1 CV, which I saw him do last time, whereas his opponent's gone 2. So, right, he gets the smoke off there and survives the Milan 2. He needs to get the Alf 1 out pretty early. Not right now. He does need like an extra Milan 2 in here, because he won't really be able to stop this with what's on the field. Here's one. And then, you know, at some point, he needs to get that Alf 1 and he needs to destroy this building. But you see, Pro Commie has already realised, well, I might get hit by artillery now because I fired from there twice. And so he's moved, which is a very sensible thing to do. And it's something that you should do in a sensible manner. So, do you see what I'm getting at? Pro Commie has opened artillery. We can hear it going off. He opened 155mm here. It's quite cheap. I was talking to another top player about this recently, and he said that he does open with one of these when he's playing second UK. Incidentally, he was talking about this map as well. So, double Sublindes, bullying the Leopard 2 a bit there, and that's because the recon wasn't here, so he couldn't actually see them. They do have mediocre stealth, which means that unless you've got recon, so if we switch to Pro Commie's perspective here, oh no, he can actually see both of them. Loses a Leopard 1, Dragon Para's moved back a building, and his push has been stalled out there. I think he would have been better off, rather than buying this, which did kill a Milan 2, and is doing a lot of damage to the Dragon Paras and the Sublinde. I think he would have been better off buying a smoke mortar and just smoking here. And then he could have just gone from here to here, and then he would have been fine. But instead, he tried to fight out in the open. He did take out the enemy Milan too, and his own survived, but he is at a bit of a disadvantage. What I would say is Krepp's got to try and get this CV over here somehow, and he's not got his own smoke. This map really does come down to the smoke in this middle zone, and on these side zones. It's just, there aren't, you know, because of like global warming, there just aren't any trees anymore. You'll note that this only has 1 top armor, which makes it quite, I was going to say subservient, that's not the right word, quite susceptible to artillery. There used to be trees from here to here, so all this was trees, and there used to be trees from here to here as well, all this was trees, and you could move up. But they got rid of them all. We won't get into the hows and whys, depending on how upset I get. And down goes the first Sublinde, hit by the 155mm there. You'll notice that Commie's put his CV next to it to make it shoot faster. He's also put his other one next to the Eyehawk. He figures I don't really need these right now. Yeah, so even though Blue owns this zone, and you see he's using the VAB T20, which is supposed to be an AA gun, but it does deal damage. Okay, so he smoked himself. Something goes down here, Gazelle Cannon. Oh, and the Sublinde got picked up by the FS Jaeger. So, Krepp bleeding out a bit here. And honestly, on this map, I don't think 5E was the pick, because it's difficult to use your mobility. You'll notice also that he has a lot more forces here than his opponent. I'm just checking the chat. But yeah, we'll see how long I stream for today. The finals aren't today, it's just the semi-finals and the quarter-finals. Although they said finals will be when the finalists decide, so they might decide to have them today. I wouldn't know. Either way, I'm going to stop streaming in 2 hours because I want to go to bed. Falling behind on my sleep. This Dragon Para is very low on the old HP there. And, okay, so the Mephisto's shooting... Logi truck goes down, as you'd expect, and yeah, taking this middle point is very, very difficult without mortars for smoke, which he has now purchased, but I think, like, I understand that he needs these items, but he's got no front line, so he's bought this, and now you know, he's still got no front line, so it's difficult. Marder 1A3 goes down there, I think, to this Gazelle Hot 2. The Vad Mephisto went down as well. Gepard will clear out this Gazelle Hot 2 pretty quickly, even if it does try and get away. It just doesn't. It's only got 4 HP, and this is a pretty beastie AA gun. On this side, Krepp trying to take some hits there, deal some damage there. And the commandos will engage the Marder 1A3 Milan. They might kill it. I'd expect them to, really. But they need to get back because all the tanks are shooting them. Eventually the RT is going to come in. Kami's been pretty good with using this, actually. He's been firing a lot. B2 does get out of the way in time, and there's a P4 PC trying to come up here. The commandos are going back now, but they lost, you know, most of their HP there. 70%. Well, it's just for everybody. The reason it was called the North American tournament is because... okay, so Krepp tries to secure the zone, and he probably will get it. The issue is, you know, for how long? And, you know, he's bought this arty, and that's great, but he's lost the zone. It is interesting how he's managed to get over here, though. AMX-10 Hot goes in on the racist and takes it out. And the P4 PC is gonna die. Just seemed to get stuck on something there. If he'd, instead of pulling it back, if he'd pulled it this way, it would have been fine. Jaguar AT purchase, probably going to die, yeah, because the Eyehawk hits it. You'll notice that the Eyehawk's at 65% accuracy because this is next to it, which buffs it up. And then the Gepard dealt the last 1 damage. 9 plus 1, of course, being 10. Here comes the smoke, and it's a good idea, especially on this map. The only issue is, you know, everybody's dead. So one of these at the start would have been very, very useful for Krepp, or for Pro Commie. Either of them could have done it. But this has arrived too late. Everybody's dead. So the Minstrels should probably get back. They've only got 1 FAMAS. The AMX-10 Hawk gets taken out by the Leopard 2, which does have a very good gun on it. Krepp's trying to push here with some success. And we hear the Harriers coming in now, the British Harriers. Okay, Taras gets taken out by the Leopard 2, so the Harrier's going to unload on the Dragon Paras. And it kills them. Those rockets are not bad if you can get a good shot off. A good targeting solution. Yeah, well, I only started using the face cam in July, right? After I came back from Saudi, so... Yeah, how times have changed. Everything happens faster on the internet, I guess. But yeah, this is looking not great for Krepp. I know he's on a +2, but it kind of seems like he's not having a great time. And it sort of goes back to what we were talking about with the draft. Pro Commie's division excels at just smacking itself forwards in a straight line. It's very, very good at doing that. Whereas 5e excels at flanking, using the mobility, being sneaky, and you can't really do that on this map. You can come round here, but otherwise, you know, you basically just... This is always where the fight is. You're always going to have a big fight here, and 2nd Panzergren is going to win that fight, because it's just better at doing it. And, you know, you might say, well, okay, I get what you're saying, but how is 2nd Panzergren better at doing it? Well, for starters, so the French tanks, which keep dying, they're very fast, which makes them better at mobility, but their armor is very, very poor, which means that, yeah, they die like that. Whereas the German tanks, they are still fast, but their tanks are more about the armor and the gun than the speed. And the Marders, you know, this has a lot of armor. It's got 5 armor. And so that's really all there is to it. So the West German AA, the Eyehawk, it's very good, but it's not very mobile because it comes in a towed, you know, in a jeep like this, in a truck, and so you've got to pay a lot of attention to micro it around. It can't fire while it's moving, for example. Whereas the French div gets loads of mobile AA, which is all dead, so I can't show you it. But oh, here's one. So it's like a wheeled spag. And so this is designed for going somewhere fast and setting up an anti-helicopter screen there. And it's also got tracked AA that fires missiles, which is, you know, it's designed for going somewhere and setting up an anti-helo screen. Whereas the 2nd Panzergren stuff is, you know, there is a lot of mobility involved in West Germany. So it's a lot closer than some other matchups might be in that regard. But generally, Second Panzergren is about, well, there's the enemy, now run into him for the next 50 minutes and he will run out of stuff before you do. I would argue that 5e is not about blobbing at all, it's about the mobility. And so the bigger the map, the better 5e is in a 1v1, right? If you add more people, it's different. But generally, look at this, helicopter transported special forces. That's mobility. It's about the mobility. You don't get that in Second Panzergren. But on this map, how do you use the mobility? I mean, Krepp, he could have tried to push here, but basically he picked a mobility div. I guess it was a comfort pick, and then I would consider both of these divs to be S-tier divs. I would actually consider 5e to be better than Second Panzergren in 1v1. But it really does depend on how you play 5. 5e is definitely harder to play properly than Second Panzergren. If you just play 5e like a regular division, you'll be left thinking, well, this div doesn't seem that good. But it's just all about the mobility. And he didn't do anything particularly mobile in this game. And frankly, I don't know what he could do that's particularly mobile in this game. So yeah, I would argue that 5e is better than Second Panzergren, but Second Panzergren's much easier to play very well than 5e is. 5e is quite hard to play properly because it's very difficult to not attack the enemy who is in front of you. It's very difficult to draw people from your front lines and send them around the sides when you know that, well, I'm losing on the front, I need to do that. But, you know, this also, it's just the way it is. That's interesting. Thanks, Light. What do you mean you're on my stream? Are you in Falador? So, you know, I don't really like the Harriers, but top players who are better than me, like Pro Commie, who, you know, he is better than me. Whatever else you want to say about him. I got a bit upset with him in the last tournament I organised because he was sort of delaying everything. And he wasn't uploading his results. But he's definitely a better player than me. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And he uses the Harriers, and so does Tiberius Rancor, and he's a better player than me as well. And I guess the idea is, yeah, the Harrier, it dies in one hit to an Eyehawk. This is that tracked AA I was telling you about, the Roland 3. It dies in one hit to an Eyehawk. Down goes the Milan 2. Oh, so he's actually bought an M110 now, so this is a much heavier arty piece. And this is, you know, this is very emblematic of Second Panzergren's style, where it's like, well, I'm going to sit here with my mega arty piece and siege you down for 40 minutes. and then I'm, you know, what are you going to do about it? Second Panzergren and 8th US Infantry are pretty similar in that regard, except 8th US Infantry is really kind of bad at the moment, for a variety of reasons. Does Krepp have a chance to get back? I would be surprised. I mean, he clearly thinks he does because he's still playing. It's just he's taken a lot of bad I mean, really, his best bet at the moment would be to attack over here. So get the Roland 3 over here and try and take this. But, you know, he's got this problem where he keeps getting plane bullied, and like, so this needs to hit twice to kill that. So he actually survived that. Does this have? So, but yeah, I'd be surprised. I mean, the fact of the matter is, so Commie's sort of woken up a bit now, and he's like, well, I'm just going to hit where the mortars are. You see, the mortars have been moving after every salvo, but generally, like Krepp can win. He's a very good player. I mean, he's made it much further in the last 2 tournaments than I have. But Roland has wheels, not tracks. What are you on about, mate? These are tracks. The only wheeled Roland is the one on 35th US. And one of the Nemesis options had one. But no, this is definitely a tracked frame. Petite Pierre 1944, apparently. I'm not sure what that means. So, yeah, it's going to be a very much uphill battle for Krepp now. And, you know, he does have a chance to get back in. All he has to do is outplay his opponent. But that hasn't happened so far. So, do you know what I mean? So it is pretty rough. But it's a best of 3, so he's got another chance. Iltis Fjorung went down. So actually, Red just lost his CV here. Yeah, what can I say? Yeah, he could try and get seed and snipe the tanks and stuff, like you say. He did have a seed and an AT playing up before. I'm not sure what happened to them. But yeah, all you got to do is switch this off. And that didn't... Yeah, he's got 2 now. And the CV's next to 1. And, you know, it's just so much easier to execute Second Panzergren. And, frankly, the hardest part of Second Panzergren is probably, like, the first 10 minutes. Because 5e comes online a bit sooner with its tanks being so much cheaper. Like, you can get a few of these out quite quickly with a couple, like a Minstrel and a Vab T20. These come together, so you can get one of these, couple infantry, and you can actually go for a zone pretty fast. Whereas Second Panzergren, it gets forward deployment at the start, which is vulnerable to enemy helicopters because they don't have any forward deployed AA. I didn't actually see if he opened. He didn't actually open fire, and Krepp did. So yeah, Krepp probably should have opened Gazelle hot. But I think he did actually. We did see one back here. And then, yeah, so like Second Panzergren, as the game goes on, it just gets more and more Marders, and Leopard 1s and 2s, and the Arty and so on, and the blob grows, basically. There's been a lot of talk about blobbing. It depends on the map, basically. Blobbing is easier than attacking in 3 places at once. So that's a big factor, is that, you know, it just depends how good a player you are. But yeah, you can't go wrong with blobbing, basically. There's not that many tools that punish it, apart from nice wide maps. So this is, you know, dead, and one wonders what the point was. Basically, if you have a seed plane and you right-click on an enemy helicopter, or a ground unit, or anything, it won't shoot its seed missile. It's a known bug. I did report it. I don't know if it's on purpose or not. So, for example, you know how the Tunguska doesn't fire its missiles and its guns at once? That's supposed to be like that. Like, that's on purpose. It's not a bug. And I didn't know that. So I was, like, bothering him about it. But no, it's apparently that's how it works in real life. I didn't know that. But yeah, this is not looking great for Krepp. I mean, the blob is going to take the next zone, and, you know, he's struggling. 5e, you can never really count it out. It just doesn't run out of stuff, basically. But, you know, so like, this is 35 points, and this is 55. So it is a lot more, but it is a lot better. And so, like, this will beat that 100% of the time. The gun is worse. The armor is worse. There's no ATGM. And so, generally, the way 5e should be played is you gotta do some sneaky stuff, which is kind of hard to do on this map. And no, my Harrier. I don't know. Apparently, I should do more cinematic shots. Somebody told me that, and Vulcan gets more views than me, and he doesn't. So, you know. Compared to the Leopard 1s, how good is the Brennus? Well, the Brennus will beat a Leopard 1, no problem. The problem is that the Leopard 1 is never by itself. But generally, the Brenner shouldn't be by itself as well. It's just Krepp's so far behind that he's lacking a lot of punch hit. Like, this is not smart. This is dead. because all the autocannons are going to unload on this. And yeah, like then it starts spinning around circles, but like that was just not going to work. Yeah, so just waiting on Commie to just bring the CV up. He is taking a very risky route here. This will see him. I just don't think it'll be able to kill him in time because the only part of the range is like here. Like you could just path it here and sort it out, but do you see how these two roads don't meet? The game basically doesn't care about cornering, doesn't care about safety. When you press fast move, it's just like, what is the least road distance? Which is fair enough, really. I mean, the game shouldn't play itself. Yeah, fair enough, Xena. Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, so that's why I don't do them, because I'm trying to pay attention to what's going on. It depends how high, like, this is a very high-level game. They're engaging across two fronts at once, right? I mean, nothing's happening here, which is a shame. And you see how Pro Commies put somebody here? So I find myself doing that a lot as well. If I'm winning, if you're winning, you need to think, how's my enemy get back in the game? Oh, I've got this flank here with nobody on it. Maybe I should just put an extra couple units there. You know, stuff like that. Because if you're against a good player, that's what's going to happen. But yeah, if it's like a low-level game, I suppose there probably is time for cinematic shots. But generally, I mean, it is a very pretty game. But yeah, the main advantage of the French tanks is that they've got these autocannons on them, which makes them really effective against infantry. Will this get that before? Okay, so it does kill it, but he's probably gonna. Well, he survived because this couldn't shoot twice because it ran out of ammo. So the big question now is, does he still have that Alf 1? I don't see it. Did he lose it? It must have died. I can't believe I missed that. I don't know what happened to it. Must have been counter-batteried. I mean, it couldn't have been anything else. And then I was going to say he should hit this AA because it's not moving. But he doesn't have his RT anymore, and he can't really afford another one. I guess he's just trying to learn, like, you know, what's my opponent up to? What is his play style? You know, seeing it as a learning experience, trying to exploit things, see if you can get back in. Because yeah, he's not winning this. I mean, he obviously he won't see what we see. That's also a very important. Like, do you see what I mean? I do like the smoke. I think it's very good, but you know, Pro Commie can deal with this quite quickly just by shooting it with his artillery, which he now has quite a bit of. So it seems that he brings 2 cards of 155. Oh wow, this is at 1 vet by default. So he brings 2 cards of 155s, but the first one he brings comes at 1 vet. So he only gets 1 in a card instead of 2. And then he puts the CV next to it to make it 2 vet. But yeah, Krepp, he's been doing quite well with moving these manually to stop him from getting shot. Which is pretty impressive. But yeah, if I was Pro Commie, I'd just be putting a bunch more guys in here and just waiting. I mean, if it was ranked, I would just keep attacking the whole game and then lose. But oh, it might be vet by kill. Yeah, it might be. Oh, here we go. So he actually bought the second Alf 1. And he's going for some Fliegerfaust and Milan 2s here, but he's not got a recon here, so it's not corrected shot. So it's doing a lot of missing. Harriers are back out. So you see, it's only 165 points. And it depends on the matchup. If you're against a division that has Cubs, then yes, he will kill you. But if you're against a division that does not have Cubs or Eyehawks, then it can work. So he hits that, but he doesn't kill it. He couldn't really chase it. And the Grenadier Voltigeurs don't have Appelas. You got to get a specific Appelas one. Commie's managed to get up to here now. If he gets up to here, then, you know, this is your reinforcement road, so it becomes a big problem. And, yeah, when you first buy an RT piece, you should... Because they reload while moving, which is a bit, you know, not fantastic. But it is the way the game works. And so you might as well, as soon as you buy it, you should shoot and then shift queue up a move order to get it closer to the front lines, particularly if it's self-propelled. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's probably better that he doesn't know about all this. But, you know, they got to fight for our entertainment. And right now, I mean, he looks like he's getting in, actually. I am being entertained. Pro Commie definitely knows about this, but do you see how these can engage helicopters with the autocannons? Just survives there. So there is hope left for Krepp. He's going to slow this down to a +2, but you know, how does he deal with that Leopard 2? Look. Okay, so he might actually kill it. If he hits this next one, he got it, and because this was on low cohesion, it missed. That's an interesting interaction, actually. I thought the Leopard 2 would just mincemeat that, but I guess the range helped, and like this survived, which is, you know, impressive. So 155's coming out on that straight away, trying to get it, but Krepp's pulled it back. He does have to watch out for this. So if Kami, if he just gets this Milan 2, for example, up to here, then, because you'll notice that everybody's coming down this road. Starting to get the impression that Krepp's running out of regular infantry. But he's got 2 minutes to sort this out, basically. So he's got to get in here in 2 minutes. So what he could do is use his smoke, right? I mean, he's just got to come down this road, I guess. He doesn't have much of a choice, but if he used the smoke, he could smoke this and smoke this, and then, yes, he could get it, because otherwise the Marders are probably going to shoot it. Another Bopar back here, and the Minstrel's a bit out of position. This guy has gone off the road. They are going to shoot him. Will they lose vision? That one did, as did that one, and now he's hiding behind the house. You notice that that tank just died in one hit to this. It's a key component of having 24... Oh, that's a shame. He was doing so well as well, but I mean, it's just, yeah. He'd have to hide behind this and then get the group anti-char in, and then, like, you know, so Pro Commie, you know, very good player, plays a lot of games. He also has been playing Wargame Red Dragon for like a decade, so he's very good at the game. Krepp, you know, he's pretty young. I'm not even sure if he's been around for a decade, but he plays this game a lot, so. But he doesn't have that breadth of experience that Pro Commie does from playing Eugen games all this time. You know, if you've played Wargame Red Dragon or Steel Division 2, there is a lot of overlap. So when I played Steel Division 2, they put me in Division 3 in the tournament out of 5. And I was like, well, look, I've got 10 hours. And I didn't get relegated. I didn't make it past the group stage, but I didn't get relegated. So I finished in the middle, which means that, you know, and that was just because I play Warno. I didn't know that much at all about Steel Division 2. So there are transferable skills. So game 1 will go to, you know, etc. And now, you know, I don't want to wait around for them, so let's just watch somebody else. So this is Fortitude Fence versus, oh, Guard X-Rooms. Interesting. I don't know if this is game 1 or game 2. Basically, they can pick and ban maps. Judging by the timing, I would assume that it's actually game 1. And yeah, it is live, but, you know, we're like 10-20 minutes behind, so we'll watch this now. And I'll just do a cheeky poll while we wait. So it looks like, I mean, you guys were voting while the game was going on, so that's not really, it's not right, you know? Are you not entertained? Who will win? So my money is on bottom feed. God, X-Rooms, because I've seen his TKS, and it is good. So, hello and welcome to video games. Today we're video gaming. And we've got Bottom Feeder playing TKS. and he's going up against Fortitude Fence playing 35th Infantry. Bottom feeder doing a fast rush here. This is sort of the point of TKS. It does a fast infantry rush. The point of 35th US is that it's terrible, and Fortitude just plays it so he can complain and try and get it buffed. The Duster is a pretty good piece of kit though, and that's going to clean up that Gazelle cannon pretty fast. This is 2 Beauforts on a tank of some description. And that's going to do some pew-pewing there. I just realised I haven't actually been doing my smithing. Big fan of reinforced barrier. And you see how bottom feed has actually opened with a couple Eyehawks because he knows who he's playing against. Fortitude Fence, bit of a one-trick pony, is really only capable of air spamming. You'll note that he has done a big blob. And he wanted to blob over here, but now he's rotating it. But you'll note that he isn't actually capping... What the heck? I mean, shouldn't this be going this way? So his plan is to cut off the reinforcements here. I'll admit that late game, 35th probably has the advantage, although its tank availability numbers are pretty low. So these didn't used to have AT, and now they do. And 21 Pen will one-shot this on the side armor, but will not one-shot it on the front armor. Thing is, with the new recon mechanics, if you've got recon, you can actually see people in buildings now, which is how we just saw that. So Fortitude, he's got to fall back a bit there. And look how aggressive he... sorry, Guard Extrem's got to fall back a bit there. This guy used to be called Guard Extrams, now he's called Bottom Feeder, so you know, excuse me if I say the wrong thing. And Fortitude, you know, he's got to get this over here pretty rapidly. And you see how aggressive he was moving this up? So he's sort of managed to push this already. And so the reinforcements are going to have to come down here now. He does need to unload his units. But, you know, Bottom Feeder is about to get 80-point rebate there. And that will allow him to buy a lot more things. The Eyehawk did go down. You'll note that the stabilizers on these actually aren't bad. And do you see how he's prioritizing movement over accuracy? The AMX-10 does have to get back there. And the National Guard Engineers M67 will lose to this. I'm going to close the poll in 1 minute, by the way. So if you want to vote on who's going to win, you don't get anything out of it. Yeah. These are going to shred those Hueys if they can shoot them, but they can't because the tanks are over here. Okay, never mind. No, they're going in on the infantry. And the FS Jaeger B ones will definitely beat these guys. I mean, they're literal National Guard engineers. Sunday warriors, whatever they call them. Weekend warriors. AMX-10RC, it's popped its smoke. And Fortitude, he might be able to get these back. The gunships will clean up the FS Jaeger. LGBT2 comes out, immediately dies to Roland, gets an ACAV. So this is the one that Hoovy was talking about. This is basically the best part of this division. It's got 60% accuracy, it's got very nice range, and it's wheeled, so it's proper fast. The disadvantage is supposed to be that it's reservist, which lowers its aim time and stuff. That's not reflected on the stat card. But yeah, the VLRA 20s will scare off the gunships, although Fortitude didn't even lose one. The regular Hueys, I assume he's not going to sell. Yeah, he's going to keep them and use them to sponge for the gunships. And Bottom Feeder, he's trying to get a CV in here. I do wonder... He probably will manage to get in. It depends. I think Fortitude will see it, but he won't be able to kill it. So these things are proper funny. They are recon planes with rockets on them. They can also shoot smoke. He definitely saw that CV. Or did he? He might not have actually seen it. Anyway, these have accomplished their objective. They've taken out the AA, which means that now the gunships are free to rain fire. This guy's scouting for him. The Iltis is trying to get in, but it's not fast-pathed anymore. There is a rise here, but it's not actually... If it was here, it'd be able to shoot down the road. But Fortitude definitely sees this, because this is a recon plane. We're going to have to close that poll now. I've noticed it's time to flip. Looks like the Iltis is going to get in, and that will give Bottom Feeder some points. Fortitude, as soon as he gets the rise in, will be able to... What? What? Okay, so something weird going on with the houses here. You can't actually path from here to there because of this wall here. does manage to dodge the bombs and does still get in. And so he will at least neutralise this zone. But, you know, Fortitude, if he wakes up, he can sort this out pretty quickly. And this can't really hide. There's just too much here. They'll all be getting messed up from the buildings and the minimum range. And this is a cinematic moment, I think. So Barbara here, trying to escape the American helicopter spam, learning what it feels like to be a Vietnamese person in the 70s. There are a lot of Hueys over there. And yeah, so Fortitude is recapping that. Barbara makes it to the next path of buildings, but the Hueys are closing in, and down she goes, although Barbara can also be a boy's name, I suppose. And that was pretty funny. But what that has done for Guard Extrams is bought him some time. Because all this blob could have been in here by now, but it's not, because he was messing around with this. These are being sold. So there's going to be a big rebate there. 160 points. And now Bottom Feeder has had time to build all this back up. The thing is, this isn't really where Fence wants to attack. This is where Bottom Feeder is strongest. And so I think Fence would want to attack either here and use that open ground, or here and use that open ground. Looks like Bottom Feeder's going to try and press this. He won't make it very fast. Oh, I see. He saw the bomber. He's probably going to lose this. Oh, he's going to... No, he might dodge it. Okay, he makes it. But that does mean that this is getting in. And I think Bottom Feeder's plan is to just do this for the whole game. Presumably, once this attack gets stopped, he'll attack over here again. And the idea is just to prevent Fortitude from doing his blob. So this is what we were talking about before in the last game, actually. It's funny how these things happen. If your opponent is going to blob, the way you solve that is by attacking him everywhere. And then he has to constantly drag his blob around, or split his blob, and then it's no longer a blob. Yeah, you can use Barbara as a boy's name. Barbara, boy's name. Did I make it up? Okay, yeah, I did. I made it up. I guess I'm thinking of like Sam or something, which isn't very similar, so I guess, I guess it doesn't matter. Anyway, so the blob has come around, but you see, you know, he's managed to cap it. I've never seen anybody use this before. It's the Dragonfly Bomber. It's got 6 HP. He's dropped them all, but the thing is, so a Roland 2 can't one-shot, but a Roland 3 he can. And he does get a couple units there, actually. And so, yeah, Fortitude Fence, using the planes, he will get this. But, you know, Bottom Feeder, he is 200 points up, but I feel like, I just wish there was a KD up here. You know, do you know what I mean? Like a KD graph that you could do, like in Age of Empires or just any other RTS. I did ask them for it, but I can't tell you what they said, but the impression I get is that, yeah, it would be great, but they've got other things that need doing a bit more. So, do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that would be great to do, but they can't do them all. But, you know, that's not me quoting them, that's just the impression I got. Anyway, so you see he's bought some Roland 3s now, which have 6 HE, which can one-shot those planes. They can also one-shot these gunships. So I'm surprised that he bought the Roland 2 at all, given that this deals with all of his problems so well. So I got some ceremonial sword plants here. That's pretty cool. We'll do that later. And yeah, the iHawk 101 shots the F-104Gs. But I forgot this div got the iHawk, actually. It said Barbera, not Barbara. Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough, yeah. I mean, I wish I was a game dev. I've got a game, but I haven't finished it yet. I just need to finish the PhD. which is going to take me about 3 months. And then, and then I got to get the exam and everything. But in the meantime, then I can finally finish my game, which will probably take me about 3 months to make, after the last 3 months. And then it probably won't sell very well, and then I'll probably have to get a job. So that's my future. But yeah, you see what Bottom Feeder's doing here. He's just playing for time, and a quarter of the time has already gone. And you see he's buying the big arty now. This thing is pretty impressive. It is the one that we saw coming out on Second Panzergren. It's just the American one, which is weird because this is the German division, but it's an American M110. And yeah, I don't know. So the issue Fence is going to have, like, these tanks they are cheap, and the advantage of the M60 is that it can survive a TOW 2 hit, which incidentally this div doesn't get, but it can also survive a Milan 2 hit, which is important as well. But you don't actually get that many of them. I think 35th US is actually really weak, and I think he's just playing it because it's game 1 and he wants to, mess about a bit. CEV, we'll see what this accomplishes. Yeah, you see it takes ages to aim, and then it just gets stunned. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. I didn't really expect it to die, but there it goes. And so, yeah, Fence, he's trying to blob with the Risers and the Dusters, but he spent a lot of points on planes, which he's not really going to be able to use. Having said that, Bottom Feeder's spent a lot on AA, which he's not going to be able to use if Fence doesn't send out the planes. But Fence likes planes. And yeah, the M60s, if you're National Guard, etc., basically this is going to regenerate its cohesion really, really slowly. So do you see how he's put a military police vehicle next to it to buff it up? One thing I have been talking to some people about, engine destroyed crit, but you see it did survive. And I'm pretty sure it can still shoot, it's just it can't see. Right, so the gunships have been sent forwards, but the Rolands are just picking them off. Takes out 2 there. Could have been a lot worse for him, actually. But yeah, he needs to get some supply up here to try and heal this. But if Bottom Feeder has any sense, he'd be just slamming a round in there. I did have a train of thought, but I've lost it. How's it going, NBK? Yeah, this game's terrible. That's why you're watching it. Oh, but no, I do understand some of the criticisms that I've made of it. It's not perfect. So, yeah. Fortitude slowly moving up here, and if he keeps the momentum up, he will win. But you'll notice, right, so he's buying an AA piece now, and yeah, he loses that one because it was low, and so it got him. Bottom Feeder buying this artillery was really not a smart idea, to tell you the truth. Especially the second piece. Like, this is 260 points, this is 55, so he could have got 5 of these. Or, almost 5 of these. For 1 of these. Now, imagine how much better off he would be if he had 5 of these. He'd have 2 here, and 2 here, and, an extra 1 here, maybe. And it's difficult to use the artillery when there's no static targets, and Fortitude is not playing a static game here. I've noticed he's not got any AA here yet. That Roland thing is coming, and you see how fast it is? That's one of its advantages. This is basically the principal advantage. You'll note that he's also attacking over here. What's happening in the top left? Oh, that's RuneScape. I'm just doing some smithing, bro, in Falador. So, now I need to get this right. There we go. So Fence, he's trying to push up here. Hesse is a very difficult map to push on, and I would be surprised if this one makes it out. There we go. And yeah, so this is kind of what TKS is about. Basically, you open up with one of the best forward deployments in the game, and then you just bite and hold like an airborne did. But the issue with TKS is that all of its non... This is going to be interesting. So he is trying to move him, but he does lose one. And do you see how he airwaves? This is Fortitude Fence's gameplay right here, and this is why Bottom Feeder bought so much AA. Because he knew that was going to happen. And so he lost all his P4 Milans. He lost a Roland, but he did kill 2 enemy planes. But losing the 4 P4 Milans was not great. Did you see how... Basically, what killed the P4 Milans were these, I think. He was basically using the gunships to shoot them while the AA was busy with the planes. And it's very, very difficult to get an airwave like that going. But you'll note that now, there's not actually that much AA here. Although Fence, just feeding a bit there, trying to make it a bit more even, I suppose, loses that for literally no reason. And he's got a build up here as well, but if I was in his shoes, I mean, he is a better player than me, he plays more. I would, all this, apart from a couple units to block, would be here helping. But he wants to attack here and here, and frankly, if he just clicks all this and clicks over here, he's getting in. But he hasn't twigged yet. Surprised to see no M48s. Well, so this is the point I was making, and I know we've had conversations about this, which I can't get too much into. But basically, the issue, I think, with TKS, and I think this extends to 152 Easy, and KDA, and Rugener in some respects, is that they don't get IFVs, and instead of IFVs, they get these cheapo tanks, light tanks, if you want to call them that, basically old tanks. And the old tanks are... overpriced, and so when I play TKS, I play it like Bottom Feeder does. I don't actually bring any M48s or Kanj PZs, which went down in price in the last patch. Trying to take out the Roland 3 here, he is going to get that, and now this won't be able to kill him, because he'll be out before the second one shoots. He might lose his Roland, though. You'll notice this has less than 1 top armor, and these guns are not small. He's not reacting. I also have concerns about artillery splash, but basically this is how, like, certain things being weak in the game in general can impact certain divisions disproportionately. So what does TKS rely on? It relies on loads of infantry. Infantry doesn't kill other infantry very fast, so you don't get that advantage. It relies on light tanks to replace its lack of IFVs. Light tanks are overpriced. And it relies on, like, artillery, tube artillery, not MLRS. And these are really good. But you'll note the problem with artillery, which is that landed right next to this. Literally, you could see the explosion. And this was fine. And it has no armor. It has less than 1 armor. And it was fine. And it's right there. And the explosion is here. The game tells you it's 100 meters. It's not. It's, yeah. And so TKS, it suffers in all those regards. But it's not because it's a badly designed division. It's because these classes of weapons aren't meta. And it has all of them. So yeah, so if I was in charge, which I'm not, I would fix those fundamental problems, and then you'd start to see the division becoming really good basically by itself. So I would make the light tanks cheaper, I would try and make infantry combat, more impactful, and I would try and make artillery splash wider. But I'm not in charge, and, everybody has ideas, and at the end of the day, multiplayer balance isn't as important as, making the rest of the game. So you can't expect them to just constantly rework the game every couple months. But these have a really heavy payload. So these managed to survive. Really good micro from Bottom Feeder here. And you'll note that he's not counter-pushing this, which he really should be. He's trying to fight Fence's game, and he's not going to win Fence's game, because Fence has the division for this, and he doesn't. Bottom Feeder's advantage comes from the infantry. His infantry is better than Red's infantry. And so he should be counter-pushing this. And because Fence is blob warfaring, which Bottom Feeder knows all about because he's seen it happening, he should know, well, the blob's over here now, so I should be attacking over here. I did notice that there did used to be a lot of units here, and now there aren't any. I assume the blob got pulled this way because I don't see any wrecks or anything. Where can you vote for me? When 35th buffs? Yeah, good question. East German tanks resolute. This recording looks really good. It's not recording, bro. Hesse is not a good map. The map's great. The zones are really annoying. The zones were designed by a man who wanted games to last 40 minutes. Wow. So he takes out a Roland 2 there, but crucially he takes out the howitzers. I think he got both of them. He did. That is huge. That is 2 minutes income in the bin. And frankly, that was Bottom Feeder's greatest asset on the board. You'll note he is now buying the M48s, so we can talk about how bad they are. So, for 80 points, the pen on the gun isn't bad, but it's got this reservist trait, which these do as well. But crucially, TKS has no military police vehicle. So the reservist trait gives you some pretty gnarly debuffs which aren't reflected on the stat card. And there's loads of things. It makes you aim slower, and it makes you reload slower, and it makes you turn slower, and it makes you take more suppression in combat. But the game lies and says, oh, bro, it just makes you take more suppression in combat. And the way you get rid of these gnarly debuffs, as we call them, like, this man should be dead. That was right next to him. Bombs should do bigger boom. And that would help solve the blob problem, because one bomb would kill multiple blobbed guys. What was I talking about? Yeah, military police vehicle makes all those things go away. So you've got to have really good micro. Another thing you can do is just select it, hold Shift, F, and click on this, and then it'll just follow it around. But TKS has no military police vehicle. Neither does 152E. Neither does 24th US. And all these... neither does KDA. Actually, does KDA... the Commanditura, are they in that div? I don't think they are. Anyway, that's a big problem when you're a reservist div. So LGBT2 does take out a tank there. And it survives. Might have been because this was on attack move. Did you see how the missile just sort of went like that? That's because as soon as it left the range, this thing started moving. So Fortitude, just trying to walk in here. I would love it if he used some smoke. So he's bought some mortars for smoke, but instead of waiting for them, he's just running in and dying. Although you'll note that, no, they can shoot that. AT planes are out, Weasel's out, LGBT2 takes out another Roland. Didn't he have an Eyehawk over here? I guess it died. And yeah, this is Fortitude Fence's airplay, right? You've got suppress on miss. I think air spam in general is dead, but if your opponent is really, really, really good at the game, then he can get a lot of value out of them. Did you notice as well? So these would die in one hit to a Roland 3. So these came out second, after the Seed, after the LGBT2, because this can survive a hit. Obviously this is a Roland 2, but he did have Roland 3s before, and Eyehawks, etc. So Fortitude Fence takes game 1 there. And that was a really good play from him. I'm quite surprised that happened. I thought Bottom Feed would win. I've played Bottom Feed as TKS, and it's very, very difficult to deal with. But he just let Fortitude... Right, so at the start, Bottom Feeder had the momentum. He did the funny attack, he got in, he got his 100-point advantage, which would mean that he would win if there were no more points on the board. And then he switched it up, forced the blob to rotate, and then he didn't switch it back. And because he didn't switch it back, the blob stayed in the open, where it's strongest, and just pushed it. and he never tried to counterattack it. And it's very, very difficult to do that. It's not easy when you're being pushed back to make a conscious decision to start sending troops somewhere else. It's very, very difficult to make that decision. I've been in that exact circumstance on that exact map. So I've got no idea, like, because they're all best of threes, and so I'm not sure how far everybody is. I would assume they're still in the quarterfinal stage. So let's watch Helljumper versus Legion now. And I don't know, etc. What do M48 tanks need to be usable? I would like military police vehicle for TKS, and they should be cheaper. And crucially, they need to display the reservist malus on the stat card because people don't understand what they're getting when they buy a reservist unit. And this also affects, you know, when people say, well, how much should this cost? Well, if you look at the stats in isolation, it should cost 70 points, say. But the reservist debuff is so severe that that you oh, it's going to be a Legion game for sure. How many spawns are there on this map? It's two. The debuffs are so severe that it's messing with people's ability to gauge what price the unit should be and how they should use the unit in the field. So not only is it affecting the players, it's also affecting the balancing side, in my humble opinion. I mean, yeah, you had no idea reservists had extra debuffs. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. They should buff 76th. No, they shouldn't. Um, and yeah, the artillery, I want artillery to be wide, right? It should be messing people up in a wide way. And then if it becomes too OP, make the damage at the center less. But at least make it so that when it misses a little bit, it still does some damage. Because it's just like artillery is just sniper rifles. You're just trying to hit somebody with a sniper rifle from 20 kilometers away. And if you hit them, yeah, they go down. But it's just so weird. It's not great. And it just makes the artillery really inconsistent. So that's not how I would do it. But it's much easier to criticize something than it is to make something yourself. So while they're deploying, I'm going to get a glass of water because I've been yapping now for an hour. Right, so it is live, but we can speed it up. Yeah, see why Yote already knew, because I do point it out occasionally on my videos. I need to do a guide. I need to do a lot of guides, but it's just... I do a guide, and then it immediately becomes out of date, and then and then people accuse me of spreading misinformation, like that fire support guide. I said, bring the 50 cows, they're the best one, and now they're the worst one. Do you see what I mean? I mean, the order literally changed 180 degrees. It completely changed. Anyway, hello and welcome to this game between Legion and Helljumper. Legion is doing what Legion always does. So he has built a nice big blob with an East German division. This one consists of T-55s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 T-55s, 2 Recon, 3 Shilkers, and a Strela 10M. There's no Cub, which I think is a mistake, to tell you the truth. And he's going to cap Dimitri, and he's going to go straight to Elena. He sacrificed Center and Boris for that. which means that even if he succeeds in this plight, which I have no doubt that he will, given the size of this force, he will be on an even tick. Up against him is Helljumper, playing something other than 5e. 39Y, some people think is weak. I think it's a pretty B-tier division. T55's beginning engaging. I need to slow it down to 1 times. They do have stabilizers. T80BVs are actually going to do a huge number on this. They might actually just kill them all. The main advantage of the T80BV is that it fires at 10 rounds a minute. And in any weather. And so he's just going to kill all these. So, do you see how he's trying to close the distance? Because at this range, he'll deal 1 damage if he hits him. And he's not even hit him yet. There's your 1 damage. So... wow, cinematic moment. So, they're going in. Yeah, so this is generally how you do it, is you also get some planes up. Do you see how Helljumper has his units here? That's on purpose. It's because the air comes from here, and if you're right behind this building, the enemy plane will not, if it comes straight in, it will not be able to hit you because you will have the building covering you. So Helljumper, he's taken some hits out of the blob. He's put some hits into the blob, and crucially, he saved both his tanks. And you'll notice that even when they're low cohesion, they still fire at 10 rounds a minute. That's why we say in any weather. Neither player has... This guy had a CV. Presumably it died. I mean, how did he cap this? So, he's... so he's just chasing him. He really wants those T-80 BVs. Helljumper's trying to get the rocket launcher up to here. Metis gets another one. He's running out of AA, although he's still got 2 shilkers. And he's just trying to close the gap here. But this goes at 45 kilometers an hour. And because this game is made in Vladivostok, the T-80 BV goes backwards at 60 kilometers an hour, which is faster than the T-55A. But that's why he's using the roads to try and catch up with his 30% stabilizers, which deal 1 damage. So he's got this in position now, and he should be able to deal some juicy rear shots. The AT plane takes out 1. He's going in. I mean, this is still firing at 10 rounds a minute, you understand. It's just the accuracy is very low. And he's pulling it through another unit now. Helljumper just buying tanks. Should probably buy an Su-25, although there's a MiG-29 here, which would probably mitigate that. And so, with the new recon mechanics, you do see this guy before he is right in your face. But there goes another recon, and he's lost the T-80 BV. Now, this man will probably get all 4 of his rockets off. T-55A is still chasing here. This is the craziest game I've seen in quite some time. Well, since the last Legion game. They're always like this. When I saw that he'd made it to the playoffs, I was like, what? But generally, people panic when faced with this. You'll notice that Helljumper's not really, like, what he should have done is tried to get in here, right, and at least cap this. But he just keeps buying tanks when he needs to buy a bit of width. He needs to get some AA. But yeah, look at this. I mean, he's been chasing him across the whole map. But yeah, it is pretty funny how a guy called Legion literally does the whole "We Are Legion" rush. I think that's very fitting. And there you go, it finally goes down. It only took him 8 minutes and the cost of most of his blob. And here's another one. So... somehow there is still a game. So this anti-tank, I'm surprised he's brought this one. It's in my opinion the worst one. I mean, it's got the rockets, which is probably why he likes it. If he hits this, it will kill it. I missed. You see, it's only got 35% accuracy. That's why it's bad. The Su-22AT is much better. And okay, so Legion is now fast pathing through the town, and it looks like he's gonna get it. He's finally bothered to buy this. This is one of the best fighters in the game, but the thing is, so is this. You'll notice he's brought it at 2 vet to make it better, he says, as it misses all 6 missiles, switches to the guns. This guy's evacing now. He's only got 48 rounds, so I can't really see him killing him. Yeah, he's ran out of everything. That's why he evac'd. Shilker, it's moving. BRM 1K might see this. I don't know if Helljumper knows about this. Mo tries out clear, but might get the T80 BV. It's going to be close. I mean, it's low cohesion, so it's probably going to survive, yeah, because it's reversing as well. Legion, he's made it over here. Now he's fast pathing down this road. And here come the helicopters. Helljumper's finally bought some ground-based AA. Osa is smart, given the mobility aspect of this battle. He's trying to get that CV. This is just so low accuracy, though, and it wouldn't even kill... Oh, it's only got one armor. That's shooting the wrong thing. Okay. T55A, slow down the BMP2s, but this, you know, depending on the range, will win that fight because of the Conkers. There's a second Conkers back there. In the meantime, Legion could focus on trying to clear this out. He is trying to sort this one out, and he likes fast-moving his tanks. I got logged out of RuneScape because I'm paying so much attention to this. What the hell is this game? This is such a bizarre game. So the Igla misses, and oh, it hits one, but it's definitely very dead. But the Mi-24Ds have to run away because the Osa's shown up. BTR-60PB tries to get into position. Sturm S has 20 pen. Bailed out crit. That's bad news. 0.5% chance of happening. Just makes your tank useless. It is now dead. Plane coming in. I assumed it would be going for the Sturm. Okay, Sturm is dead. This can shoot rockets sideways, apparently. AT plane's back out. The one with 35% accuracy. And the T55AM, he's trying to find this, I think. He doesn't have a CV of his own anymore because it died. And that Osa went down. I didn't even see what killed it. I assume it was this, or this. Something got it. I mean, it might have been shot by one of the tanks. Anyway, Helljumper, he's on a +2 now. You'll notice that... Okay, so Legion's finally bothered to take this. And, like, Helljumper really should have come in here. He has the Motor Strelky, right? So all he has to do is send the BTR-60PB in. Oh, I'm being shot. Do you know what I mean? If it dies, we'll then just leave the Motor Strelky there as a blocking unit. But if this gets in and nothing happens to it, then you move the Motor Strelky in. But I assume he's, you know, he's paying attention to all the madness that's going on around here. So Mi-24D is trying to take out the buildings, the guys in the buildings. And given the lack of building stealth, he can actually see this, if you can believe it. But yeah, what you can do is just turn off cover on this and just hide between the buildings. That's always very useful. Legion, he's seen the BTR-60. He's got 50% stabilizer on that one, and he finally gets some luck there. And he didn't lose this either, so if he brings up a supply truck, which he is doing, he could sort that out. He's also going to try and get in here, but that's where the Metis is. And Helljumper's started buying proper units now, and he's really beginning to stabilize. He's actually doing the thing with the BTR-60. Wow. Pretty crazy so far. I like the stealth changes, but it might need, you know, infantry to be a bit cheaper or something. And yeah, that was good from the T55A, although it is more expensive than the BMP2. BMP1, trying to take out the BTR-60s, or at least trying to spot them so that the planes can do the work. But yeah, I don't understand why he went for this one. It's really bad. It's only got 10% ECM as well. And I guess it's for the rockets. I mean, it's cheap. And yeah, this has a gun, right? Whereas this is just KPVT. We'll eventually kill this, but this is pretty interesting to see this thing fight, because usually I'm not sure why it's shooting that instead of the thing that's killing it. Alignment impossible, apparently. So he can't shoot the Maryuko. Okay, because he was aiming at the wrong thing. Another plane gets evac'd by the Osas. T55 AM2 going crazy again. Might get some Cubs, actually. And yeah, Helo's back out, but like he needs to... Oh, he needs to not die to the Osa. CV's in here, and presumably he's going to go check if this is open, and then he's going to run this straight in there. Unless he's lost his bottle, which I doubt, given how aggressively this guy's playing. Can you believe that this is the playoff stages for a tournament? and these two guys are very good players. But no, I like Legion's playstyle a lot. I used to do things like this, but slowly it was sort of beaten out of me. And so it's nice to see somebody who still has that youthful glow, you know, and wants to succeed. Whereas I'm like a bitter old man. Uh, he still does it. He doesn't care. He's in a tournament. He doesn't care if he loses. He's just trying to have a good time, right? He didn't know anybody was watching this. I mean, we joined it halfway through. He's just doing it because he wants to have fun, and you got to respect that. I've got a lot of respect for that. So T80BV's coming in here now, and this is going to spell the end to this BMP1K's Thunder run here. The main question, so this doesn't have smoke, and so the question is, will he see it before he sees the CV? Because if he gets to here, then it's GG, right? I think, does he see it? Yeah, he sees it. Okay, so he's going to try and land in front of it with the Motorized Aufklärer. And I'll be honest, he probably should have dropped this because the NSVT and the KPVT can really mess this up. The thing is, though, because it's firing the coaxial at this, it can't shoot the main gun at this. And we can hear the sound of a plane. So here comes some planes, and he's going to try and shoot this. The question is, can he still see it? Yeah, you see, it's difficult to deal with that. Ah, this is not good for Legion now. Although the MiG-29, the 2-vet MiG-29's coming in. Helljumper needs to stop these Cubs because they're not shooting because they're on movement orders. Oh, he puts them on attack move. That was the wrong movement order. I think he stopped cancelled the attack move there. So Legion trying to get in here. It's very difficult to hold this position as red because blue's spawn is so close, but he's managing it, and this is a +2, which makes it important. And yeah, I like the idea with getting the Conkers round to here, because yeah, if you get one to here, then you shoot them as they come into this road. This could be in the front building. It's a shame it's not, but you know, he doesn't have infinite resources. He has to pick. He bailed out again. Is this the same tank? Is this the same tank as before? What is the statistical chance of being bailed out twice? It's 0.5 squared. So that's 0.25. No, that can't be right. It's 0. Yeah, it's 0.25. What? That can't be right. I'm surprised it's like 0.5% chance happening twice. Oh, I see. Because yeah, 0.5 is half. I'm an idiot. It's 0.5 divided by 100, which is 0.005 times by 0.005, right? And then times that by 100. It's the percentage chance of that happening is 0.0025% from 2 shots. Over here, MI-24's going in on each other. This has a worse gun. He's shooting the wrong one, right? Because yeah, you need it. What's he doing? Oh, he can engage 2 targets simultaneously? Crazy. So that's really bad news for Helljumper, actually. And you'll know that this is open. So Legion can send this in. Osa's ran out of rounds again, and he's just sending in another one of these. The thing is, like, will it fire its rockets? Because it could just kill all this with 64 rockets, no problem. The question is, will it see it? Building stealth has come down, but this is... The guys inside have recon, but this is only mediocre. But once they start shooting, you would expect it. The thing is, once it lands, it's going to get hit by a rocket launcher. So, yeah, it's dead. Oh, no, he takes off immediately. Okay, so he didn't have time to aim. T-55 AM2 recovers for the 3rd time. Bails in. And yeah, this... it's a shame he didn't... Oh, why isn't he shooting it? Oh, I guess he just wanted to get back a bit. And yeah, this should all die now. The thing is that Saperi Commander's going to get in, and Red CV here is dead, but he's got another one coming up. He's got some shilkers. This is not going to survive for long because even the Mott Shotgun by itself will kill him. And down it goes. These are ran out of ammo. What a crazy game. So Motorized Aufklärer, they need to get in the building really, because they're taking unnecessary damage. The building gives you like 50% cover bonus. You know. Seed plane has now been purchased. that if it doesn't have any ammo, if it doesn't have any ammo, the seed doesn't shoot it. But what happened there was the supply truck came in, stopped, gave it an ammunition piece, and then the seed came in at the exact same time and killed it. And there you go, Legion won. So, I mean, the guy's literally got a 58% win rate because he just does this every ranked game. But Helljumper was taken completely by surprise. I gotta tell you, picking 39Y on Black Forest is a terrible idea. Because 39Y, much like Second Panzergren, is a div that doesn't want to go wide. It wants to go narrow and just punch people in front of it. And if you're on Black Forest, is like the widest map. And so 39Y gets pulled. He pulled him out sideways, and then he couldn't blob, which is kind of the point of his division. And he just took him to pieces. Fourth East German is I consider it to be an S tier division, but the way Legion played there was impeccable. I've not seen anything like that since the last Legion game, uh, which I will now link to you because you deserve to watch it. That was crazy. So this is the last Legion game.
Map while this is driving around. I've not seen the game.
I'll just put this in the chat. But yeah, what a game. What a player. I love watching him play. Him and Medi. I love watching him play. I absolutely hate playing against him. I can't stand it. It's really difficult to deal with. But yeah, what a crazy attack. I mean, he literally chased those T80 BVs all the way around the map. And he got them both. But he lost like all his guys. What a crazy game. That was a really, really good game. How to bet on these games. Well, I don't condone gambling. Oh, here we go. Fortitude Fence game 2 against, presumably game 2. Against Bottom Feeder. Oh, loops in rotation. Who's on the bad side? Fortitude. What's Jova? He's playing 8th as well. What a dummy. Looks like they're going to have a game 3. Whoops. I'll just check the chat a bit. So yeah, what did you think of that game? 8th got more M1 Abrams, and it got more M60s, and in the patch before, its mech rifles, Law and Dragon got cheaper. You know, I think 8th is still weak. I think it needs a couple more buffs. What I would do is make you know, those M113s with the 50 cals. I'd make those 15 points, and then I think the div would be fine. And I'd also make, you know, something like the FV432 with an MMG, or the MTW M113A1G that the Germans get. I'd make those 10 points. They're just, you're paying a lot of points for something that just isn't very good. And I think in this IFV meta, you know, if you go up against a BMP2, 60 points, with 3 M113s, 60 points, the BMP2 is going to win without taking any damage. It's just going to go pop, 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 and they're all going to die from the autocannon. So I think if you bring down the price of that a little bit, then things will get better. You could talk about slot cost reductions, I suppose, yeah. And yeah, you're right, Silver. That's the chance of getting bailed out twice in a row from 2 shots, yeah. But yeah, that was really, really cool from sorry, I'm just reading the chat here. I haven't been doing my smithing. That was really, really cool from Legion. I gotta say, I'm a big fan. Like, cause yeah, when I was looking at I don't mean to like slate him or anything, but when I was looking at the fact that he made it into the playoffs, I was like, well, how? I'm gonna have to go back and watch some of his other games. I mean, maybe they were all like that. And it's just yeah. If you know what you're doing, you can beat him. If you know what's coming, you can beat him. But Helljumper, like picking 39Y on Black Forest is not a good idea anyway. But if you look at the tournament rules set, which I can now show you, perhaps. Where are we? So this is the tournament rule set. And do you see, like, it's a really... So this is the Swiss stage, okay. And yeah, in this, you pick various maps, which is why the maps keep changing, because there's a map pool and you ban maps. But look, so player 2 bans 3 divisions. Player 1 bans 3 divisions. Player 2 bans 2 divisions. Player 1 bans 3 divisions. Player 2 bans 1 division. Zzz. American grammar. And so what does that mean? Well, 3, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13. If you're the last pick, 13 divisions are already out of the pool. So him picking 39Y on Black Forest is like, well, you know, how many divisions do you play well? I don't play 13 divisions well. They're all gone. Like, well, then I guess I am picking 39Y on Black Forest. But no, I like it a lot. I'm a big fan of this. Trying to have more bans because that's why we're seeing B tier divisions, C tier divisions. That's why we're seeing them. Because all the meta stuff's gone. So I like it. I think it's good. I like the wacky tournaments. I think they're a good idea. It's up to you what you think, you know. Some people refuse to participate in them in the wacky tournaments because they say, well, it's not right. I only play one division. Stop banning it. Uh, um, so yeah, I like the variety. Like, so we did the last one I organized was so this wasn't organized by me. This was organized by um XVZCSTR. I can't remember. He's just got like a bunch of letters and then his name. It's in the description. He's also cast in the games. And PBAT, so it was Americans. And I think Atla helped as well. Some of the War Yes guys have been helping. I had no part in this. And so I asked them, I said, look, is it okay if I cast this game? And they're like, well, yeah, we want you to. And I was like, well, you know, you've put all the work in. And then I'm just coming in and I'm casting it. Do you not think, you know, are you not a bit upset about that? And they're like, no, we want you to cast it. So here I am, profiting off the hard work of other people. But yeah, let's talk about Loop. Loop is a hilariously imbalanced map. It's also my favourite map. The reason it's hilariously imbalanced is because Blue gets an advantage in all 3 of these middle zones. First of all, over here, where the action is happening, bottom feeder on this 5th Panzer versus Fortitude Fence on 8th, this side gets this building. There's no building here. And there's also... Oh, IHawk misses. There's also these buildings here, which help secure, you know, this and the bridge, and means that, you know, Blue, even if he loses this, can still get in across here. Red doesn't have that. On this side, Blue literally gets the town for free. Because so red gets to about here at the start, right? Well, the town is here, and Blue's in it. So Blue gets the town for free. You can counter this by just smoking this and just running in with a CV and just sitting in the smoke. I do that every time, and I feel like people say it's very not good. I think you know, maybe, I understand that. But listen, if you get the zone for free, I'm smoking this and I'm sitting in here, and I'm not going to feel bad about it. So that's that. In mid, it used to be that this was all forest, but as part of the global warming, you know, there's no more trees anymore. Did you see how that target switched there? Very important. We'll get to that. This all used to be trees, but now it's not. And so now you can't really hide here anyway, because the guys here can see up there. A10 gets hit, goes down. That's crazy. The Eyehawk was moving. That's why. If the Eyehawk wasn't moving, this is exactly what we just spoke about. So that's the disadvantage of the Eyehawk. Like in 2nd Panzergren. 8th is a division where you want to hit the guy that's in front of you. You don't want to be doing particularly mobile things, although you have more mobility than 2nd Panzergren, for example, because you've got the Blackhawks, which means that you can drop people in all over the place. And your air power is a bit different. You've got the A10s and stuff. You've got pretty decent air power. But generally, 8th relies on these M1A1s, which... yeah. As for 5th Panzer, I consider to be better than 8th. Its air tab is weaker. Its AA is weaker. But it gets IFBs with autocannons and ATGMs, and 8th doesn't get that. And its tanks are very good. So this is obviously worse than an M1A1 Abrams. I say obviously. It is worse. And you might be saying, well, the gun's the same, bro, and it's faster, so who cares? To be honest, it is kind of weird that this is... like, this is too expensive. It's kind of part of the reason that I think 8th is weak as well. I would make the M1A1s a little bit cheaper. But the advantage of the Leopard 2 is that you can buy one a minute, because you get 260 points a minute. Whereas this is 275, so you can't buy one a minute. The advantage of the M1A1 is that it's got 18 armor. This only has 16, and you might say, well, why does that matter? It's also got 8 side armor. Why does that matter? All anti-tank planes in the game, except 2, which you never see anyway, have 30 AP on the missile. 30 AP will one-shot this tank. It will not one-shot this tank. So that's very important because if every anti-tank plane in the game can die to your can kill your tank in one hit, then sorry, somebody just like text me or something. I gotta check what it is. Nobody ever texts me, so it's probably important. It wasn't important. The yeah, I'll deal with that later. So he's taken this zone, but do you see how like he had to do a big attack at the start to take half the map? That is a bit of a pain. So 5th Panzer also gets 1 card, I think. It might be 2 cards of this one, which has 18 armor, and you'll see how it costs the same. Despite... yeah. We also didn't speak about the side armor yet. So the side armor is 6, which means that a 21 AP missile, maybe even a 20 AP missile, like a Lore 80, would one-shot this. I'm trying to find somebody with a... 5th Panzer doesn't have any Panzerfaust 3s, does it? So this gets side shot more easily, right? Whereas this doesn't. So here we see the Hellfire Kiowa. This thing's pretty crazy in that it fires 70% accuracy Hellfires with 24 pen. Which, for example, would one-shot this on the side armor. I'm not sure if it would... it probably still would one-shot this on the side armor, actually, at 24. But... you missed twice there. This one smoked and this one, it just dodged. Sorry, I ordered like a lamp for my mother over Amazon, and she was trying to ring me to tell me that it hasn't arrived. But I got a message from Amazon saying it had. So they probably just put it outside the door or something. Man. Anyway, M109, so this is better than the American one because it's got more range, which means that at the same range it's got less dispersion. But yeah, this is going to be a much slower game than the last one because both of them are playing slow divisions. It takes a long time to buy all these tanks. You're buying less than 1 a minute. And so Bottom Feeder's decided to invest in some artillery. But yeah, it's crazy how he just gets one zone for free just because of the side. It looks like Fortitude Fence's plan is to push this. Although it does seem that he wants to try and push this. It's not very easy to do. This is a very capable killing machine. So it's got Toe 2 on it and mediocre stealth, which means it doesn't really get spotted until it fires, depending on what's going on. The big advantage over comparable systems is that it's got 6 armor, which means that the tank you are trying to shoot. Thank you for gifting memberships. I'm sorry it says 0. I need to check how many it was.
Bob Saget just gifted 0 memberships.
It's not true. It was 5. Thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Do appreciate it. It's very nice of you.
Bob Saget gifted Joanna a membership.
Thank you for gifting Joanna a membership. I really need to sort this out. I mean, for starters, it doesn't say, hello, I like money.
Bob Saget gifted Bonzomad Enterprises a membership.
And then it does this really slowly. But I suppose it adds to it. It's part of the fun, right? So, okay, he's changed his mind then.
Bob Saget gifted CryoCloud a membership.
But yeah, I do appreciate it. Thank you. It's very nice of you. Makes you want to gift memberships.
Bob Saget gifted Jerry Larson, Octopus, Trident, a membership.
Thank you for gifting Jerry Larson, Octopus, Trident, a membership. Oh, I see. I was going to say, like, what? It's basically, he's actually got an octopus
Bob
logo
Saget
on his
gifted
name.
Anti-Communist of Deutschland Empire a membership.
Thank you for gifting that membership. But yeah, basically, the deal with the memberships, I might as well shill now while I'm here. If you go to the channel, right, there's lots of videos which like members exclusive or members early access, so they get them earlier. They get the videos earlier, right? All these Broken Arrow videos. Wow, you love Broken Arrow, right? I love Broken Arrow. And there's one members exclusive video a week. And I've been doing this so long now that there's actually like a lot of those. I'm trying to find it. Exclusive. Here it is. There's actually 61 of those. I'm surprised it's not higher, but at the rate of 1 a week, you know. So these will never be released to the general public, and so yeah, you know, you can subscribe for 1 month, or join or whatever for 1 month. Watch all these, and then cancel it, I guess, or forget, which is what the business relies upon. But no, I do appreciate it. Thank you. So yeah, it's going to be a slower game simply because that is the nature of these divisions. Fortitude did a good attack at the start, and now it looks like he wants to come across here and push mid. I mean, he's got loads in mid. These M60s were buffed in the last patch in that you get 1 more or 2 more at the same availability. I think it's 1. So he's got a card of these at 1 vet, so he'll have 1 more than he otherwise would have. He's bringing the CEV, which has a very big engineering gun on it. Sadly suffers from the problem where, you know, explosions aren't big enough sort of thing, but it is very chunky, and it deals 3.2 HE, and it ignores building cover, which means that there's no building damage reduction, even if you're, you know, like building damage reduction's like 50%. But this would still deal 3.2 HE, so it will one-shot this Milan 2 team, for example. There is a bit of a bug where the HP doesn't come up next to this. It's definitely a bug, because the last one it was fine. So yeah, he's doing the big attack, and the CVs are coming in. It is a shame how bad rockets are against tanks, but I don't know, it probably makes sense from a balance point of view. But you see how good the Gepard is at killing helicopters. You just, unless you react immediately, like basically before it starts shooting, you are not going to make it. M109s, oh, they missed the tanks. But yeah, this is a pretty cool attack from Fence. It's kind of hard to cover the whole thing. But yeah, so he's coming in on the sides, etc. And, you know, loads of interesting things are happening. I'm definitely not dealing with my RuneScape bank during this pivotal moment here. The CVs, you know, they reload really slowly, but the idea is that, like, that Panzer Grenadier squad just got eviscerated. They can shoot armor, but they don't really do anything. They just suppress it, which is kind of a big deal actually. 432 suppression. You know, I think it missed. Otherwise, it would have stunned that. Religious people can see further than atheists. This is also part of the reason why blue has an advantage in this zone. Is because like they get this church and then they can see everything. And now that this has all been deforested, they see back there as well. Second A10's out after the first one died. Rolling 3s are on the board. That should have died. It's a 30 AP missile. It must have missed. If you get a near miss, then it deals partial damage. But yeah, it should have died in one hit just to prove me right. Hey, this is what... So I was talking to somebody about this. He said, well, look, why don't people use pivads against infantry? Well, there you go. It's because they haven't learned how to do it yet. It is a good idea. So, planes coming in there. F4 AT. That just missed completely. But if it had hit the front armor, it wouldn't have killed it. This guy, he's got no side missiles, so he's a bit cheaper. I believe it's 3 availability. And Fence, you know, he's just winning the trades. When it's a slow div versus a slow div, it's just about KD. Because nobody's going anywhere particularly quickly. And so you've just got to make sure you're getting the kills. And then you will slowly push that line. And I honestly think Bottom Feeder's decision to spend 2 minutes income on heavy artillery, this is something I would do. If I was the 8th player, I would have bought the 2 M110s. But, like, so this is 215 points. This is 135. So you can get 2 of these, or you can get 4 of these. Roughly. 3 and a bit. Or, you know, you can get 2 of these, or you can get 1 of these and 2 of these, or something like that. I don't know. Whatever. And my maths isn't great. And so he invested in this, and this takes like 10 minutes to pay off, depending on how many kills you get. But it's very safe. You got to think about this like an economist, right? So if you're, you know, it's about risk versus reward. So planes, high risk, high reward. It's very expensive, but you can kill something very expensive very quickly. Artillery is low risk, low reward, right? It takes about 10 minutes to kill enough things to pay this off. This is actually quite a cheap one, but you know, you got to kill 3 Milan teams, for example, 3 Milan 2 teams for this to pay off. You might do that quite quickly, but it might take you a while.
Hello,
but
I like money.
Why
Oh,
Yoke
thank you.
became a member.
Thank you for becoming a member. Why Yoked? Do appreciate it. But yeah, this is gonna. This, you know, it doesn't die. He missed again. Actually, it's only 50% accuracy, but he's had 2 misses now. Ihawks should move. So what happened there was this deals 9 damage, and that spag, wherever it is, definitely heard it shoot. This one dealt 1 damage. That's a pretty... It used to be a very popular combination. 1 spag, 1 Ihawk, and you would do the 9+1 and you would get a kill. So it would be 1 Cub, 1 Shilka. Cub, Shilka, supply. Keep it simple, stupid, right? That's what we always used to say back in the day. But eventually people just realised, well, why don't I just get 2 Ihawks and just hit him before he hits me? Because the spag is a revenge weapon. So... much like that F-16 cluster, the spag's range isn't very good, and so it can only shoot after the bomber's already there, at which point the damage has already been done. And so if you just have 2 Ihawks, well then, you know, it's not as guaranteed a kill in terms of probabilities, but... Okay, he's got backup CV here. He's actually pushing all the way through. It's pretty impressive, actually. But it's about the KD. He's so far ahead on the KD. He's got bailed out Abrams there again. He's so far ahead on the KD that like, Blue's just got nothing left. But yeah, it's good to see Fortitude Fence in good form, because the last couple times I've seen him, he's basically just not played very well and then given up. So it is. I kind of assumed that's what would happen this time, but no, he's given it a good go. Like Bottom Feeder's a really good player. He's better than me.
He beat me in the last tournament, in that that deck draft tournament, which is on the channel as well. If you go to the channel and go to live, that is a really good tournament, by the way. You should check that out if you've got the time. It's all timestamped. You can just watch the games. Really good games in there. But yeah, well, I suppose I've spoiled it for you. But I made it to the semi-finals, and then he knocked me out. So I ended up coming third. There are some good games in there. Like, you know, you don't know who wins. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, this is looking pretty over to me. I think Fortitude did a really good job here. Between them both, 8th is definitely the more, you know, walk up to you and punch you in the face over and over and win division. Like, between the two of them, 8th is better at doing that. The advantage 5th Panzer has over 8th is that it's got the IFVs for killing infantry, and all its stuff is actually quite fast, sort of like 5e. So this is an IFV going at 60 kilometers an hour, right? Whereas, you know, this... Well, it's actually reasonably fast. But, you know, these M60s go at 40, right? Whereas, you know, the Leopard 2, it's going at 70. So in terms of, like, speed ratings, 5e, which we were speaking about before, very fast division, but not very good in a stand-up fight. 2nd Panzergren, 5th Panzer, they're both West German divs, they've got very similar equipment. They're like the next tier down, so they're still fast, but they're less fast. But they can fight better in a stand-up fight. Then, right next, then you've got the American divs, which are slower. Well, it depends on the div, right? But 8th in particular, it's slower. It's not as mobile, but it's even better in the stand-up fight. And if you keep going down this list, then you end up at basically the UK divisions, which just everything's just very slow. Well, okay, that's not entirely true, but I hope you get what I'm getting at here. It's not cut and dry, right? If you play something like Age of Empires 3 and you use a skirmisher against heavy infantry, it deals ×3 damage and it just whacks it, right? Whereas in this game, the counters are softer. So, you know, one tank should beat one ATGM vehicle. But if you micro the ATGM vehicle better, it's gonna win, right? One AA piece should beat one plane, but if you micro the plane, you know, combined arms warfare, right? So the counters aren't as clear-cut in this game as they would be in a traditional RTS. But that's part of the fun. I mean, that's how Modern War works. We've all seen that video of the Bradley going at it against that T80 or T90 or whatever it was. You know, tank should be IFV, but they sat there and they hit it with the chain gun, the autocannon, what have you. Until all the sensors were broken, and then they won. That's how war works. You don't just pick scissors and then beat paper. That's not how the world works. So it can lead to more interesting situations, but it can lead to more frustrating ones, because you might buy loads and loads and loads of anti-air, and then it all dies to planes, and you're like, well, what is the point of you? Do you know what I mean? So there is a balance, but. It is what it is. I need to check the chat. I've not done that in a while. Game's slowing down a bit. I mean, we can see, but it's, you know, you don't want to listen to me just read out what's happening on the screen. You can see it. The bottom feeder knows he's lost here, so now he's doing a counter-attack here. But because Fortitude has this zone pretty much locked down, and bottom feeder's been pushed so back here, he could just fast move all his guys across the bridge and bring his blob over. He's not moved everybody because he's worried about counterattacks here. Infantry holds ground. That's the point of infantry. It holds space. It takes time to kill, and it can sit in a building, and then it can hide behind the building. And you know, you just keep going on like that, and you waste a lot of people's time. So he's left the infantry. It's also slow. It's not worth moving, although you could put it in the transports. So he's left the infantry, and he's moved most of the armor. I would wager he could move a bit more of the armor, but, you know, he's moved a lot of it. Anyway, these F4Fs aren't actually dying, they're just coming back after whatever. Bottom feeder, he's trying to get this in here, but he's not used any smoke. This literally hasn't hit anything the whole game. I mean, it's low cohesion, which makes its accuracy 75% lower. And 75% lower when it's 50% base is like, what? 12.5% or something like that. So he's got 12.5% accuracy, so, you know. But yeah, Bomb Feeder, he's doing his best to get back in here, but basically he lost the trades. And when you've just got two slow I Punch You divisions, then it is about the trades, really. He could have played around his mobility a bit more, to tell you the truth. Like, you know, he didn't try anything here. This is... Is he going to smoke it and put a CV in? Oh, I love it. I love it. He could have played a bit more about his mobility, but... And it is a nice big map. Really good map for 5e, by the way. Going back to that conversation. And, yeah, so he's sniping the iHawk with the F4F rocket. Good play there. Really good play. And then that'll free up his Bopars to kill all this, because there's no stingers, which is why you need Shorad. You can't just rely on the iHawks, because they've only got 3 missiles. One iHawk missile really will, you know, knock a pretty big hole in this thing. But it's only got 3 missiles, it's slow, it's immovable, and so you need the Pivads and you need stingers. Another thing the Americans get is the Chaparral, but you can't really afford to bring 4 AA pieces, so I run Pivads, iHawk, Stinger. And sometimes you can get away with not having the Pivads, but if you want to do a blob attack, Pivads is good. Pivads and Chaparral sort of have a somewhat similar role. So F-16 cluster takes out the Leopard 2A4C there. Does die to the F4F, but honestly, I just don't rate Bottom Feeder's chances. He has imperfect information, as we were speaking about before. I mean, he doesn't know what's here. He doesn't know what's here. He doesn't see what we see. But, you know, so he doesn't know how far behind he is. This is another thing you can do. You just use an empty supply truck to find things. It can be seen as cheesy. There are ways to fix it. You could just make it so this doesn't have any optics, like it literally can't see anything, like a plane wouldn't be able to see that unit. This shouldn't be able to see that unit. But I don't really think it's like... I mean, it's not realistic, right? If you just tell a helo pilot to just fly over the enemy to scout with his face, he's probably not going to be particularly happy about that. But I think it's fine. I don't really see it as a problem. You should have AA there. It should shoot that. If you don't have AA, you should expect things like that to happen. So CV's coming back in here now. It looks like he's changed his mind. Oh, another CV's coming in here. Here we go. Here's the smoke. The way you fix it is really easy. You just run into it and kill him. Which is why you sent the Engineer's Dragon there first. But yeah, you know, if you own this zone... And I see this all the time, and I've had arguments about this, and you can come down on it one way or another. I can understand both sides of it. But if you've owned this zone for 20, 30 minutes, and your contribution to society has been to sit halfway in it, and not take this, and not take this, and not take this, then yeah, you deserve to have somebody smoke the corner and just run in with a CV, as far as I'm concerned. Because you haven't taken the zone. You've taken half of it. And you should secure it properly. You should take this, right? And then they're not getting up here. It's like, well, but then they'll attack me here. Well, yeah, I get that. But that's the game. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it is pretty funny. The CUVs, unlike the British version, don't actually have smoke. So, do you see how he's playing around the corner of the building here? Because he has to. Didn't there used to be 2 of these? He must have lost one to a plane or something. Anyway. Looks like Fortitude Fence is going to go through to the semi-finals. To those of you watching on Twitch, it is better on YouTube. Your chat comes up on the screen. Rocket gets routed. This could now target that, but I mean, it's just, at the end of the day, like, Blue is so far behind. Do you see how he used the Engineer's Dragon to kill the one unit that was there? You know, another thing you can do is just shoot this with your artillery or what have you. even a plane. So he has brought for. Well, actually, we've not seen any Stingers. So this is the Chaparral. Basically, it's better against helicopters than the Pivads, and better against planes than the Pivads, but it's a lot more expensive. And so you've got to be very, very careful with it, because you don't get very many of them. And they do that, and they can't shoot at infantry like the Pivads can. So they've all got their own use cases, and it all overlaps. It's actually, the more you think about it, the more impressive this game actually is. They've really done something quite impressive with this game. You see how all the different things overlap. They've really done something quite impressive. Toad. Oh yeah, so this is something I was speaking to people about, but I haven't had time to test it myself. Yeah, so he can deal with this if he actually just goes and sorts it out. And you see, he's moved this up here now, so now it can use its Milans to shoot down there. Incredible gameplay. Actually defending the zone, not just sitting halfway in the zone. And I'm not saying that he would get upset about this, but I know people that do get sort of irrationally angry about this. And it's like, well, you didn't own that zone. You deserve it. So, but yeah, something that Joel was saying in the chat there was that you can use Toad AA now. Now that it can't be targeted by ATGMs, Toad 2 going down there is pretty bad. Actually, Bottom Feeders managed to get back in here. We still have a game. Part of it is that, you know, half of Fortitude Defense's units aren't actually here. And he's been messing around with this, and he's not been spending his points for at least 2 minutes. This is really going to put a dent in his day. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, you can use Toad AA guns, which I think 5th Panzer gets. And you just run them across the ground like infantry. They do go really slowly. They go at 9 kilometers an hour, whereas this goes at 24. So they are very slow, but they're very good against infantry. The thing is that they only have like 1,200 meters ground range, so an IFV can kill them, or a tank, and so it's funny, and it can work, but you know, it's not actually that effective. The main thing is that they're pretty cheap. So you go, he's forced Bottom Feeder to put some more units here, which I suppose was the plan. And all it's cost him is this Engineer's Dragon and this Mortar and this CV. In fact, he put quite a few things here himself, so... Much like the Battle of Verdun, he wished to expend his enemy's efforts, although the Germans were on the wrong side this time. And instead he ended up paying a similar price, so it was all for nothing. But yeah, here you go, he's actually buying M1s now. And you'll note that his M1 there, which he didn't micro properly, although he got a Leopard 284. C out of it, which is equivalent price. This was at 1 vet, which means you only get 2 per card. These are at no vet, which means you get 4 per card. But they are way worse because they take a lot of, like, look how much cohesion damage they're taking, and the cohesion comes back very, very, very slowly. But the point is you get twice as many of them. So what people do, myself included, is your first one out, your first bunch out, most of them should be at 1 vet. Most of your heavy tanks should be at 1 vet minimum. Until they change how fast the suppression regenerates. Like, it will take 7 minutes for a unit at no veterancy. With this guy, for example, if he got out of combat, it would take him 7 minutes to come back to high cohesion. You know, that's like what? 1/6 of the game? 1/7 of the game? You can't afford to do that. And so most of your tanks should be at 1 vet, and then it's like, well, you just need something to pad out the numbers. So as you can see, this is effective against those, but 2.475 range, to be honest, it's not actually that effective. This is 2.625, and so that's where the Chaparral would be better, because the Chaparral's got like, what, 2,800 meters range, something like that. There's not one on the field, so we can't see it. I hope this doesn't go to a game 3. I want to go to bed. I gotta ring my mum as well and tell her that the Amazon parcel's behind the shed. What's my current take on Warno's development? I think they've done a good job. When it first came out, it was really not great. I think it's a mostly good game. There's obviously things I would change, but I enjoy playing it. This time last year, I did not enjoy playing the game. So I think they've done it right.
the question is about the business case and stuff. How long can they keep it going for? I do like the new divisions. I like the new content, but I've noticed that if you check the Steam reviews, I seem to be in the minority there. The Steam reviews are like mixed, and I think a lot of that is because like the single player component of the game is not that strong. It's like a mile wide and an inch deep. It's probably a good way of thinking. It's like Skyrim. Actually, no, that's not fair on Skyrim, really. Cult classic. Basically, the way the single player in this game works is there's a series of set piece missions, about 8 of them. I've played 1 or 2 on the channel. They're all right. And then the main attraction is this thing called Army General, where you've got all the pieces on the board. It's sort of like Total War, a little bit, in that, you know, you click your tank and you click the enemy tank on the board, which is like a map of West Germany, and then and then it zooms in and it says, okay, now time for battle, and you'll play this, right? But you only have what you brought to the battle, just like Total War. You see how he's focusing on the AA there, and he sends the fighters first to soak. So good play from Fortitude. I'll be honest, he's a bit out of his comfort zone here. He's been playing a ground game basically the whole game. This is interesting. But yeah, he won't get back in here again, it seems. He's basically been playing a ground game the whole game. I mean, this isn't gonna make it. He could hide it down here. He'd only be buying himself a few seconds, though. I think because it's on defensive, it's automatically retreating. So he's not actually... He's now given it an order, but... You see, you can put it down there. But in doing so, he's going to come back up here and get shot. So that fast path move order was a bit deleterious to his position. What I will say, though, is that he's 1,000 points up and there's 5 minutes left. So I can't see him losing. But he lost that zone. Loses the Eyehawk as well. So, you know, credit to Bomb Feeder, he pushed him out. But I don't see how he gets 1,000 points in 5 minutes. You have to take it all. But yeah, Army General. So yeah, you zoom in on the map and you fight. But it's like... I try not to judge it because I really hate single player stuff anyway. I just find it boring. I would rather fight somebody else because it's like, it's more real. You know, they don't have perfect information, right? They react in different ways every time. But and the AI in this game, as far as RTS AIs go, is actually pretty good compared to other RTS AIs. Like Total War's AI is garbage. But I just don't find it particularly compelling because you just moving these pawns on the board and then fighting these set piece battles, and I mean, it's just not very interesting. I don't know what else to say. It depends. If you want like a relaxing experience where you can sort of command you, because it's really cool in that, you know, if you take losses in that game, then when you... Oh, it's interesting, he got back in here. And he's trying to get back in here, although this won't work. You know, if you take... I honestly, I think Fortitude sort of just stopped playing properly. And that's how he got back in, which is, you know, that's part of the game. How long can you maintain your focus? So yeah, I don't find it particularly compelling. It's just not very interesting to me. But there are people who like that. But yeah, people have. I think that's where the weakness is. I think that's why people aren't happy. That and the fact that it's like. The DLC isn't that cheap. I mean, certainly for me, I have over 2,000 hours in this game. Although, full disclosure, I get the DLC for free because, you know, it's like free marketing for them to give me the DLCs. But I would buy it anyway because I have over 2,000 hours in this game. But, you know, you might, you know, most people don't have 2,000 hours in this game. And so... there's not really much reason for them to buy the DLC, unless there's a specific division which they like. But no, I really like the game. And I think it's been successful. As in, I mean, I don't have the stats, but I get the impression that they've made enough money to make the next game, which is, when you're a game developer, that's all that matters, really. So that's what I think about Warno's development. As for, like, what the future holds, I know that they just did the vote for Nemesis 4,
and they said this might come out this year. So we've got at least a year. The other thing about Warno, which is really impressive actually, is the mod support. So they're still working on it, but you can make your own maps now. And we've done modded map tournaments. I organised the first one. Wow. And that was very fun. You can also do like full conversion mods. So somebody's working on a Halo conversion mod. It'll take him ages. And, you know, it might not come out for years. But that's going to keep this game going for a very, very long time. Because, you know, you get... you're going to get multiple games in one. And people who... Like, there's loads of modern day wars. Oh, this is pretty funny. There's only a minute left, but it is pretty funny. I don't know if he knows about it. And so that's cool. And yeah, he's charging across here as well. I mean, this should be behind that, but really it's too late to make a difference. They're just sort of messing around and having some fun. So there's modern day mods, there's lots of map mods. There's about 17 maps on the workshop at the moment. I've played most of them. Most of them are on this channel, in one form or another.
Hello, I
It's
like
fun,
money.
you know.
Tyrannical became a member.
Thank you
Tyrannical
for-
celebrates 12 months of membership.
Thank
Where
you.
do you see Eugen going for their next game?
Thank you for becoming a member. I've honestly got no idea. So they made all the war games, like War Game Air Land Battle, War Game European Escalation, War Game Red Dragon. And then they made Steel Division 1, Steel Division 2. And so it's like, well, what will Warno... I think they'll make a Warno 2. If I was there, which I'm not, and I've got no insider information on this, and even if I did, I couldn't tell you. I've noticed that he... Oh, I see, because this is here. He's actually going for this one. If I was them, I would make Warno 2 in East Asia, and basically just make Wargame Red Dragon again. Because you've already got most of the assets, and then you can add China, South Korea, Japan, North Korea, Australia, New Zealand. Why not? You know, maybe even some zany ones like Vietnam, Indonesia, stuff like that. That's what I would do. Yeah, the engine is incredibly impressive. You're right. It is probably the best one on the market. But yeah, no, I would love to keep streaming this tournament. I mean, they're gonna do the semi-finals now, but I gotta, you know, I gotta go. So if you want to watch the tournament, let me get my Twitch up. So the guy who's organizing it, he's streaming it as well. Okay, and let's just get the skip off the screen. He's called this is it, ZXC I'm not sure why. I mean, couldn't there be some vowels in there so I can actually say it? But he's the one who organised the tournament, and I suggest you go check him out. You know, I mean that's an advert, but so you know, thanks for watching. Thanks for the memberships and stuff. I really do appreciate it. And you know, I need to go ring my mum and tell her where the Amazon parcel is. Just call him Jeremy. Fair enough. So like, how do I do like raid? How do I raid? I think I have to go to my channel. And then... Okay, this is getting a bit meta now. /raid. ZXC Vista. One viewer ready to raid. What is there to raid with? Well, you and me, mate. I don't know why you don't just watch it on YouTube, but yeah, I'll see you there. So there you go, we have now raided. So yeah, go watch this guy. He organised the tournament. It's a shame I can't raid with YouTube to Twitch, but obviously they're, you know, they don't get on with each other. And I you know, we saw a lot of games today. I thought they were all pretty good. Very different games. We saw slow games, we saw fast games, we saw meme games. Some real upsets. I'm really surprised bottom feeder lost, to tell you the truth. You know, I wish you the best. Goodbye.